Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Guile here, and welcome to another Supreme Commander Epic. And I don't know what country you guys are in and whether you are in lockdown or not, but I am, and it's not great. It's a week and a half, 2 weeks in to this madness, and they say it could go on, like the schools might not go back until September. September. That's so far away. It's not even getting warm here yet, and that's when it's starting to get cold again, September. Yeah, I'm struggling right now. I won't lie. The wife actually said to me, "You should be loving it. You hate going anywhere. Every time I try and get you out of the house, you should be loving it." It's like, no, I'm not loving it. Because I like peace and quiet. That's why I like being indoors. But I like being indoors when there's everybody else is out. I like shutting myself away in my little broom cupboard, where it's peaceful and secluded. September, man. It's brutal. Just brutal. And I know some people are really enjoying it, because I see the videos pop up on Twitter, man. There's people out there, you know, all very happy, sitting there in their pajamas at 11 in the morning, sipping champagne. I've seen it. They're living their best life right there. But anyway, stiff upper lip. We're British, after all. We're supposed to make the best of it. That's what they tell us, you know, spirit of the Blitz and all that. But anyway, you know what's going to help us out? A bit of SOTCOM goodness. And first of all, before we get to that, loads of people on the last cast were telling me that they didn't get notifications for that video, and they usually do. And that coincides with a big dip in views that I was getting, you know, by the normal times, the normal check marks after you upload and you expect to hit so many views in a certain time, yada, yada, yada. And yeah, so, and it annoyingly coincides with me leaving Machinima. I think they royally shafted me personally. They demonetize every one of my videos, just like as a final FU, Guile. You know, enjoy, sucker, monetizing 600 videos. Yeah, losers. But anyway, I'm out of that contract now, that smelly old contract. I'm free, but hopefully we can sort out this issue. So, if you haven't done so already, guys, and you subscribe, hit that little bell thing to get the notifications. And if you've done all that and you're still not getting notifications after this video, I want to know about it, because I need to try and figure out what the hell's going on. So feel free to hit me up in the comments and tell me if that is going on, because yeah, it's not good, bro. It's not good. It affects the amount of new people that get to see the videos and the new people we can get into the community. So we will sort it out. Anyway, that's one hell of a waffle for the start of this video. Let's get on with today's game. It's going to be Average Joe's Custom 5v5 Epicosity, and that action is going down on Canis 5v5 new fixed edition. How very exciting. I'm ready. You guys are ready, and the players are sure as hell ready. So let's go on over to the game zone and see how they're going to get on. Chain. Ka-ching. Instant loading. That's what I like to see. Take this as Team 1 at the top. This is Team 2 down at the bottom. Going first for Team 1 in Spetsnaz green. It's Alexander Berlin. Going Seraphim, opening first land. Cheeky little pause to start with there, just to interrupt the flow of the game. That's not what we like, but we can't help it. It's beyond our control. Team member number 2 for Team 1 in baby blue. It's Jackhammer going Aeon and opening first land. Team member number 3 in the center in Cyanide Cyan, also going Aeon. It's Mutant Gene Pool, and he's opened first air, so I guess designated air player for him. Makes sense. Up at the back in the middle there. Sounds like this next guy sounds like a Aristo from Star Wars. It's Lord Falar. Here he is, and he's rather aptly going Vivacious Violet. How truly fabulous. Going Seraphim, opening first land, and last but not least, it's Shved, our first Cybran spiky space socialist of the day, opening first land, going second air. So it's 1 Cybran, 2 Aeon, 2 Fim there for Team 1. Let's check out Team 2. Down here at the bottom, in Halliburton Orange, it's Histor, going Seraphim, opening first air. Team member number 2 above him, already on his way to the middle, and fresh off the set of his latest German porno, it's Victor Lichter. It's just an image that nobody needed, but you've got that. I threw that in there free of charge. You're very welcome. And he opened first land in Lurid Green. Team member number 3 in Dijon Yellow, another Cybran, it's Yog Sothoth, or Yog as we'll be referring to him, going first land, second air. Team member number 4 in Pontiff White, it's Immortus, going UEF And opening, where do you go? First the land, and last but not least, it's Illidan 1469. And opening first land in electric blue, isn't it? There, of course there's electric blue going first land, second air. So that's 2 FIM, 2 UEF and a Cybrin there. I think I've got that right. Yeah, for Team 2. Game quality's at 93%. That's what we consider to be a more or less balanced game. So we're pretty happy with that. But you know it's going to be reasonably balanced anyway, because I generally don't cast them otherwise. Mech Marines running off into the distance there. Our first little bit of encountering going on up at the top left-hand corner of the map. A Snoop and a Mech Marine trailing behind. Managed to pick off what looked like a Selen there. Looks like the Aurora, though, might snag the kill here for Jackhammer. Yes, indeed, he does. Will the lead Mech Marine get the Engineer? No, he won't. He took about 50% of the health off before Alexander said no and saved his teammates. Engineer there will carry on scooping up that mechs. Just south of the river now, Jackhammer moving across the causeway with a little stream of T1 that seems to be heading down through that side of things, down through the middle. We should mention the range of global rankings, which we haven't actually done. Slightly narrower range for Team 2, ranging from a couple of 1100s up to 1400, and 1000 on Team 1, going up to the 1500 Jackhammer, who's our only player to meet that borderline pro threshold that we... it's pretty arbitrary, but we call 1500 pro here at Gullcast. I'm still wondering whether I need to have a review of that, because it's been a long time, and it does feel like players have got better. Like pro level might potentially have dropped a little bit, or might just be the standard of play has just got better across the board. Who can say? But it is what it is. 2 ACUs almost in the same wooded area. Jackhammer there, and Immortus down to the plateau at the bottom left. Illidan moved up there with his comm, and a T1 bomber circling in that bottom left-hand corner for Alexander, and heading in towards the main base. An attack ping goes down on that transport for Illidan that's laden with engineers, and Alexander locks onto it with an interceptor. Surely he's going to be able to get it on the ground, though. Only one fighter after him, and that's now being chased away by some fighters for Yogg, and indeed those 4 engineers will make it safely onto the deck. We do still have a Selen down here, so he'll be watching everything that's going on there. Back up to the river, we've got some ACU action going off between Immortus and Jackhammer. Immortus seems to have taken the brunt of it so far. In terms of total mass accrued between the two teams, it looks like Team 2 might be exactly 1,000 mass ahead, actually. So not a huge early lead, but a lead nonetheless. Cheeky little bombing run right over the top, though, from Illidan. Hits those 3 units stacked up on top of each other down there. And that Selen's kill command has been activated, picked off an engineer, and was working on that partially constructed mechs, but instead he's going to move off. Illidan, is he going to see him? Just catches sight of him, fires off a couple of rounds, and that's good enough to kill him when he just drifts out of visible range. Nicely done there. Gun upgrade on the way now for Illidan, although that's been paused. Done about 30% of it. Will resume shortly, I'm sure. Needs to get these Aeon T1 Auroras out of the way. They're gonna drop back all by their lonesome. Does lose a mechs in that exchange, but nothing too drastic. And we've actually got an upgrade on the way for Immortus, and that's on his left arm, so his building arm. So I'm going to go ahead and assume that's not nano upgrade. I'm expecting that to be the T2 engineering suite, but Notify not helping us out today, not telling us what that upgrade is. I'll check back in on that in a bit, just to make sure. Schwed with some manufacturing facilities over in the valley there. 5 of them. Has pumped out a decent stream of T1, and collectively with Falar over here, that's a decent amount of spam that's now putting pressure on Lichter's front line, and that's a place you never want to be, believe me. Lichter out front with his ACU, flapping away. But he's going to lose that hydro. There's a good unit mix here. We've got direct fire tanks. We've got the artillery in the back. He's going to lose, I reckon, at least one of these land factories before Lichter shoos them away. Can he hold on to at least one of them is the question. Like he might have managed it, but there's more problems over in the east. There's a second wave inbound there from Schwed, bearing down on these facilities of Yogg's down here. Yogg's gonna hit them with a T1 bombing run, and some Sky Slammers in there as well, throwing some fire back at them. Liking the early unit mix in this Joe's game. Decent bit of defending from Illidan. One lonely Zui running away Zor. Solid work from Schwed down here. Jackhammer cancels his gun upgrade. Interesting. Sat up here with his comm. Nothing pressuring him. Perhaps it was a mistake. Hadn't meant to be doing that one. You can see that was actually the T2 engineering suite that was being worked on over there by Mortis. He's thrown down a bunch of T2 point defense. And checking the mini-map there, we can see we've got a few Notha fighter bombers from Histor who's gone straight for T2, and they're bearing down on Jackhammer. Bombs away. Jackhammer static until the last moment. Down into the yellow, 3,500 hit points. He does have some anti-air, and then down into the red with one more follow-up bomb, and they are circling. There's very little support for him. Jackhammer could be going out in 10 minutes into the game. And it's the highest rated player. It's our one pro in the game. Jackhammer down and out. And that's absolutely huge pickup for Team 2. They've taken out Team 1's strongest player. 10% done on T2 upgrade. Could they compound that disaster with some added interest by forcing Alexander to cancel here? Don't think so. He's got a lot of his own T1 spam in the area. Should be able to hold that pretty comfortably. Wow, that is a major pickup. Jackhammer can't believe that he wasn't able to dodge more effectively. Back in over in the east, that entire base though for Yogg was wiped out by that incursion, but from Schwed, who's also pushed Lichter back across the causeway. Lichter does have some pillars in here. Well known for his mighty pillar. After all, I'll stop soon, I promise. They've also strolled into Cerberus turret range there, belonging to Yogg, just to the right of that lead hill the entrance to Team 2's base, sorry. Down go the land factories up the top left-hand corner. And was he forced to cancel? He was forced to cancel it. So after all of that, looked like it was going up nicely, but no upgrade on board Alexander's comms. So a few little disasters befalling Team 1. Well, a few minor disasters and one major one, losing their top-rated player. Ouch. Still, they're in the lead in terms of total mass, and Team 2 only in the lead by 3 mass per tick, and that's going to change very soon as this base is reconstructed. Looks like it's going over to Falar. He's picking up those spare mechs. He's donated 1 or 2 over to Mutant Gene Pool. Some static T2, certainly looks like it. Yeah, an artillery installation under shield coverage there for Falar, just north of the river, right in the middle of the map. We're going to get some cross-river base wars going on between Falar and Immortus, by the looks of things. Immortus behind on that curve, though. He's got some parashields covering his comm. 2 factories wide open now. After the first few volleys, he's going to put in a static shield gen, or at least queue it up, but he needs to move his phalanxed anti-air, his archers. He can actually start building that. There it goes. Look at what's going on, though, on the causeway between Falar, Lictor, and Histor. Where did Lictor's comm go? So he brought it back to base. And a strap bomber in from Mutant. But he's taken a hammering already. Did he even get a bomb off? Didn't even get a bomb off, I don't think. Yes, he did. He managed to land it right by that ion reactor and took out a few engineers. I think that was already... Maybe was that already Control K? Maybe he took out that T2P gen as well. Not sure whether that was busy being hoovered up. You do see people Control K-ing or reclaiming their T2P gens when they first get access to T3. But this is rapidly escalated in terms of tech. ASF's now on the field. Ion reactors going up. Both teams advancing quickly. We had a little bit of a point defense creep going on here. A couple of Cerberus turrets in from Shved, slowly getting dealt with bit by bit by some T1 spam. Oh, that's a wild Zooey shell, completely missing. Got to hand it to Shved and Falar, though. They've done pretty solid work down here. Yogg has managed to reset up shop across the river, but they've done good work keeping them locked down. And Team 1 inching ahead in terms of eco ahead. They're ahead overall in terms of mass accrued by about 1,000 mass, and they're up 6 mass per tick on generated eco. And that's with them going a player down. So got to hand it to them. Cheeky little T1 bombing run in from Yogg. Hits that T1 phalanx from Falar just in front of his base there. Takes out a few units, but they will promptly get shot down. And still that exchange goes on. Well, it's not really an exchange yet, but it's about to be. Immortus working on a bank of 3 clink hammers down here, about 60% done on his first. A little bit of a ways to go there. Still operating off just 1 down here, so Falar, if he wants to keep up with what's going on across the river, he's going to have to invest in more artillery of his own. Nano repair upgrade almost done for Illidan, 95% complete and climbing. Cheeky cheeky little run by. There's a lot of cheekiness going on here, as you can tell. It's me. Maybe I'm feeling cheeky. I'll tell you who isn't feeling cheeky, and that's Immortus, as he loses his mechs down there, like a T2 that went down to that little bit of Zooey spam inbound from Alexander. Nice pick up there from him. And that is why they're ahead, and comfortably ahead, 362 to 316, despite losing their key player, their top-rated player at 10 minutes in, and we're not even 20 minutes in yet. And look at this, huge potential bonus on map control down here, potentially threatening the UEF position down here. In fact, Immortus has already dropped back, I think, with his comm, or he's moved him somewhere. He's moved him out down here to deal with these Zooies. He's left his engineers to complete the clink hammers. Went for 2 in the end instead of 3. Lord Falar with now double shield coverage. Still a single emplacement though. And how well will this little firebase stand up to significant T1 spam incursion from Falar coming in from the west. Immortus in play with his comm. In come a couple of T2 units, the Ilshivas. Immortus overcharges them. Priority targets. This doesn't look good for this firebase. Zooey's raining down. That shield gen, that northern shield gen, going to collapse any moment. There are parashields underneath. Down goes one of the shields. The second one won't be long behind it, I'm sure. Down that goes. That's the end of that little firebase. Immortus, determined not to yield the territory, though, is still going at it with his comm. We've got strats inbound from Illidan, trying to work on Lord Falar, as well as... No, I thought for a minute they were fighter bombers once again from Histor, but they weren't. Strats land, Falar drops to 6,000. Could we get another aerial snipe here? Well, I don't know. We've also got strats. Oh! Also got strats inbound from Alexander. The shields blink back up on top of Falar. He's pretty covered. And that strat from Alexander didn't get another run in on Immortus either. Attack missile launcher out. Is that targeting Immortus or Immortus's base? Certainly coming this way. Hydro down. Exciting little passenger play. Thought for a moment someone might be going out. Mortis has got a ways now to go to set up shop once again, and he is looking peaky. 4,000 hit points there on that comm. Another gun upgrade for Illidan. So he's got nano, he's got one gun, he's going for the second gun. 7-8%. Couple of power storage is picked off by that attack missile. One buzzkill up front. Got one volley off, but not enough to protect, and that's a scary looking band of T1 and T2 parked up at that eastern position. That's quite a lot of general build capacity Sved's got actually on this side of the map. We've got a T3 headquarters up here, 3 T2s, and then about 5 T1s. A probing bit of pressure from Histor. Up the hillock, that's going to get massacred, I think. A little bit of skirmishing going off over in the west, as well as Mutant tests the strength of that band on the hill belonging to Illidan. It's all going off, aerially speaking, over here. Every scout plane in the world dispatched to check things out on that side of the map. Couple of bricks in the mix now. Lictor's forward position looking very precarious. No ACU in play. Shield gonna go down. A few engineers in there hurriedly building T1 PD. Illidan with the sort of helpful strap bomb defense, killing about as many friendlies as enemies, but T3 upgrade on the way for both Mutant and Alexander, loitering in the river at the top of the map there. Bit of a strat action from Alexander, just going for vulnerable targets. Advanced nano repair. You better do something with this comm, Illidan. You can't put that much henchness on one bot and then not use it. You better be about to be going Rambo with double gun and advanced nano. There's no excuse not to. You essentially got yourself an experimental on the field before anybody else. Interesting happening in the bases. Nothing major. 23 minutes in. Everybody kind of focusing on eco still, getting T3 power chains up and running. Oh, brick wall inbound. Not tearing on straight head first, but doing a bit of strafing action first. Need to get some aerial coverage though. Those strats from Illidan causing no end of problems. There's the defensive command for Team 1's ASFs, and Yogg responds to Shadow. Couple of Percys for Victor, guarding the causeway. It's all very quiet though for Team 1. That's what we're looking at there. It's about 55-60% of the map in Team 1's hands. Just being that bit more aggressive, continually applying pressure, not allowing Team 2 to get re-established. Team 2 sinking their efforts into forward bases, which are getting knocked down almost immediately. And once again, Yogg loses that position across the river. Still one Clink Hammer in operation, 11 kills for him. No real chance it's going to break through those shields by itself, I wouldn't imagine. Very unlikely. Oh, Buzzkill's under construction under there, but not completed in time to save that T2 mechs. That's another resourcing option of dropping Team 2 down to 609. Team 1 ahead now by 45 mass. with almost a solid 30k total advantage over the course of the game. But oh, look out, coming for Lord Falar, massive strap-on rush, and he hasn't even seen it coming. What? Where did all the other strap bombs go? Where did all the other strap bombs go? Only one of them landed, I swear. Did they hit some ASFs or something as they passed? Somebody watch the replay back and check that one out, because I swear to God that looked like a bunch of the strap bombs disappeared after they'd been dropped. It's almost like they hit each other. I don't think they can do that. But something went very wrong there. I'm pretty sure Lord Falar should have been dead. That was highly questionable. Now we're getting a decent amount of Percys building up, but just in time to meet a Monkey Lord. Not enough. You need a lot more than that. Credit where credit's due to Shved, who's properly kept the heat turned up on that side of the map. Yogg with the whalers being brought to bear, primarying that Monkey Lord. In comes some Volthus from Histor. I'm surprised there's no massive aerial response. I think it's fair to say Yogg has air dominance in terms of numbers, so they don't want to hand air control over, but and Monkey Lord's taking an absolute kicking. It's down to about 50% base health. More bricks coming across the causeway as we speak. That Monkey Lord pushes west, and once again seems like Immortus is going to lose that base at the river. Time that Clink Hammer's definitely not going to survive. Neither is anything else on this side of things, really. Gunships going to town on the Monkey Lord, but in come some bangers from the backfield from behind. Monkey Lord's about to go into the red. Certainly will, now that these persons have shown up from Immortus, but even they don't last too long. We've got some more from Lictor to the right, but he gets a rank in veterancy in a really inconvenient time, thanks to a couple of broadswords showing up from Lictor. Working his magic, giving him a real tongue lashing. SMD going up for Immortus. It's about that time. Not a bad decision. Anyone else working on anything like that? Doesn't look like it. Is it because they've scouted something? No, I don't think so. But then I have been known to miss things, I think. I'm sure those strange interludes where I put on some weird voice with a nondescript accent is the reason people keep asking me where I'm from. Very obvious that I'm British, I don't know. Apparently not. I get a lot of people asking me what country I come from. Find out your image of yourself is not exactly how you imagine it to be. You're not so much Sting in Englishman in New York. Much more like Mr. Bean. cheeky little pickup of a T3 engineer there for that T2 artillery piece, which is still the original T2 artillery piece with 33 kills now to its name. He's been going for a while, but funny enough for a T2 artillery that still only translates to 1 rank in vet. Quite surprised on that. Illidan in a little bit of trouble here, needs to get himself in the river. Brought his comm over to defend against all this brick pressure coming in from Shved, but he took a bit of a kicking. He'll rep that all up in no time with his whopping 232 hit points a second that fly back onto that chassis. But damn, he took a lot of damage. It's a 40,000 hit point ACU right there at full strength. He was obviously airlifted over from one of these. Hello! Experimental bomber, 60% done. How very juicy. I'm excited. Excited to see it get shot out of the sky having achieved nothing. Taking bets now. Timestamp your guess, and it has to be in the next minute. How many kills is that experimental bomber going to get? No cheating. I don't want anybody pretending they are smarter than they actually are. That trait is reserved exclusively for myself. Oh, Whaler's missing out. T3 mechs all round. Go to town, baby. Should help their ratio a little bit. ASF's not entangling with one another, though. Oh, another vulnerable one up there. They're being told to move straight in on this position up here. Are they targeting the SMD or the shield gen? There goes the huge dogfight above this base. And indeed, they were going after the SMD, but the Hive's insta-repair. Fatty under construction in the middle. Now firmly into the late game phase. Oh, the megalith. Goodbye, Percival. Be impressed with just how many hits those puppies take, considering the size differential between the machinery. Broadswords moving in. Airspace covered by Histor and his ASFs. Illidan strap bombing from the skies, but there's the experimental bomber, and that's got to be priority target. This green blob coming across the causeway now. The broadswords and the whalers are going to town on that crab.
Strategic launch.
Hello, nukes out from Team 1. Bomb away. Oh, 46 kills. Clip the back end of the crab. That's about to be a mass present right on the front doorstep. Does get a ranking vet to last a little bit longer. Crab dealt with and threat eliminated. Experimental bomber being brought back over as Falar seems to be advancing. What happened there? Was that the nuke? That was the nuke that was inbound. I assumed it was coming this way, but it had been scouted. I thought for a minute, I forgot that Illidan had been airlifted over here and was in the river. So, I got a little bit excited there. Took my eye off the nuke. Where are we up to on kills for that experimental bomber? The arse washer of doom, 64 kills so far. chasing the rest of this spam. There's the Air Force for Team 1. They're up here. They've been dispatched. Trouble is, they are way down on numbers compared to Yogg, and they know it. And Histor's in there with ASFs as well. Up to 79 kills now on that experimental bomber. Credit where credit's due. He's doing better than I thought he was going to. Now he's going after Falar's troublesome forward base at the river there that's caused so many issues for their team. Takes a little bit of flak, does get the bomb onto the shield. Shield drops to about half health. Doesn't elicit an immediate response from the ASFs. They're just kind of holding position in the middle of the map there. Volthus for Histor sent out to those newly constructed T1 land factories for Shved over in the east. Oh, but look at this. Straight in while Yogg's out to the west. Going in after the experimental bomber. Broadswords lift off and out the way. They're going to lock on. He's got 80 kills so far. 81. We're going to slow it down so we get the final tally. It looks like he could be going down here. Remember, he's shooting down ASFs all the time. 82. Where's it going to... Is he going to get out? No. In comes Alexander with his own ASFs. And that looked to be about 83, I think. 83 kills or so, we'll call it. On there. If you got a better view of it, or you know better, whack it in the comments. But yeah, that looked about 83. That's, you know what? That's better than I thought. Wasn't sure which way that was going to go. You see so many of them built. And so few of them achieve anything noteworthy. The amount that I've seen sent in against shield. The first bomb impacts on a base shield. Does no damage to anything and probably gets shot out of the sky. Before getting near dropping a second one. Broadswords from Lichter. Mopping up some of those forward factories, and that's actually pretty significant because Shved's been pushed all the way back there. He's had these factories on top of that eastern hillock for a good 20 minutes at least. Major pushback coming from Team 2 now as Illidan picks off a couple of forward mexes. Where does that leave us eco-wise? Well, actually brings us to a lead temporarily. Looked like it might have been reclaim related actually, so it's not a lead. Looked like Team 2 were ahead, but it's 868 to 844, I think. Potentially, and changes again. Well, hard to tell. Team 2 suffering some kind of power issue, I think. Some kind of energy shortage somewhere. Fat boy over here. Causing problems for this central base that's still operational. Backing up to try and avoid the static counter-artillery fire. Shield drops down though. Down goes the T2 radar. Question is, does he see that crab coming in from the north? There it is. And that's going to make real short work of that fatty. It's going to give him both barrels. Literally both barrels. Bam. And job done. That crab just turns around and goes, see you later. Sort of feels like he should have shaft as he walks away. That is a grotesque backside those things have though, isn't it? For laying the eggs that nobody ever uses. Why does nobody ever build anything out of these amazing things? They're always just sitting around when they're not being used. Build things with them. Illidan sitting in the river, very conspicuously with his head out of the out of the water. It's like, what's up? It would actually be quite terrifying if you were to see that in the sea or a lake. Mutant completes an experimental, but not up there. So we've actually got 2 nuke launchers now. One for Mutant over here, and I think the other one that hit the plateau was this one. Yeah, 104 kills. It's actually got a nuke loaded in it right now, and it's a 3rd done on its next one. That's what Mutant Gene Pool's been doing. A couple of Colossi at the northern causeway. But Histor going in hard with his strats on that crab. He's also taking fire from another fatty over here from Lictor. As the ASFs duke it out above all of this. A few strats in there for Team 1 as well. Finally that crab goes down, and that gives a ranking vet to the fat boy as well, who really needs it. He's looking a little bit worse for wear. $40 gone. And an Ithota as well out from Illidan, pushing north up towards the causeway up here. Lots of support commanders out now. And a moment to just admire the anti-air coverage for Team 1. Check out the SAM work from Falar. 42 SAMs there for him. And then what are we looking at for Alexander? He's got 10. Let's actually get it off that side of things. And Mutant has a whopping 21 across the map. So major coverage anti-air wise. Illidan tried to get that chicken as close to all these inbound units as possible, knowing he wasn't going to fare too well against 2 Colossi or Colossus. Lictor with another fatty. He likes a good fatty. And a Duke being constructed up front there for Immortus. Now, what's going on elsewhere? We've seen the nukes for Team 2. Another experimental bomber. Sorry, Team 1, we've seen the nukes. What's going on for Team 2? Anything else? Any other standoff tactics? Mass fabs going up for Histor, but no more artillery. Just that one up front. You just don't want to bring your ASFs on this side of the map, really. The sheer unbridled Samness. Ultimate Sam. Team 2 comfortably in the lead now, eco-wise 1.1k per tick versus 934. Pretty sizable stuff. And it's still a 4v5. Even after all this time, we only had that one surprise early ejection for Jackhammer on Team 1, and it's safe to say that Team 1 have done really well despite losing their stud. That's a pretty significant army right there, led by a chicken, 2 Colossus in the back, and a whole bunch of siege tanks, sniper bots, Suthanus, you name it. So send in the experimental bomber. There's a lot of T3 anti-air. They take the brunt of the first bomb. 10 kills off the bat. That Duke is nearly completed. This will be a game changer. Start laying down some long-range artillery fire on Team 1's base. Consistent pressure. It's always a step up. Chicken gonna eat some Vulthu now. Down it goes. 3 Fat Boys, 2 for Victor, 1 for Immortus. It's going to be a whole lot of charge of the Light Brigade business now for these siege tanks as they walk in amongst that. There's even a crab in the mix as well next to the hill. Experimental bombs being dropped on them. Not a happy place to be. Those 2 Colossus peeled off, so they didn't go in with the main pack. They've gone in around the side, and now it looks like they're pushing in on the plateau in the bottom left. Presumably that will have been spotted. I expect to see that Awasar brought to bear over in the left, perhaps as a preventative measure. Screen of fighters now being brought in from Alexander. They're going to tangle with Victors above the Colossus. In comes Yogg. Experimental bomb connects. Some broadswords being brought in, but this will be the end of everything on the plateau. Not going to take them down quickly enough.
Strategic launch detected.
Okay, so another nuke inbound. Where's that going? So it's going right at the front of the base. And we don't have an anti-nuke loaded yet. Am I right? Or is there another one elsewhere? There's one down there, and that's got 2 in it. Okay, so that's going to get shot down. There's another one out. Is that going in the same place? Is that a double nuke? See a second nuke ping anywhere. Yeah, there that goes. Losses just absorbing so much damage, but they do finally get taken out. And they've managed to hold on to that T3 mechs for Illidan as well, which is nice for Team 2. "47 minutes gone. A little bit of strap-on pressure from Mutant doesn't get applied. ASF coverage good and strong for Team 2 at this point. They're shooting down just about everything that's being brought to bear, but Team 1 continue to push. And this is the problem. They're launching experimentals now at Team 2, but they're not getting anywhere with it. They're loading Team 2 up on mass in terms of wrecks that they can cannibalize. And they now have a Duke operational. Wow, that other experimental bomber got shot down. That crashed right into Lictor's base and took out a bunch of kennels and God knows what else, like a land factory under there. Okay, so we're going Novax, and this is what I mean. This is standoff tactics now
Strategic launch detected.
from Team 2. Happy to ride it out, continue weathering the storm. Another Duke on the way from Immortus. Another nuke inbound. Immortus telling everyone to get more anti-nukes.
Strategic launch
Oh,
detected.
they are spamming the nukes, and this time it's going east. This next one, I think this first one's going to get shot down. Yep, there it goes. But the next one is going after Illidan's comm, and he's not moving it. He's not even underwater. He's still above the waves. And that's going to be a crushing way to bow out. And a lovely pickup from Team 1. He was half done on his next experimental bomber. Wait for it, wait for it. He recognizes the danger now, but too late. Boom, baby! Illidan out at 48, nearly 49 minutes. And of course, as we've already seen, no fairies have to die today because full share is not on. All of his stuff is going kaboof. Now, how significant is that? Well, pretty damn significant. Team 1 now breaking 1,000 mass per tick, and with that ejection, Team 2 falls to 827. They're still way ahead in total mass. I mean, they're like up over 200,000 total mass, but this is going to be hard to cling on right now. You can imagine Team 1 going to be throwing everything they've got, trying to capitalize on Team 2 while they have a huge power vacuum on this side of things, and that's exactly where Falar is headed. A little bit of counter pressure though in the west being applied from these Percys of Lictor. Little probing attack. Likes a good probe. Way he backtracks in the face of pretty nasty looking ground army from Falar with shield coverage, lots of siege tanks. Mind you, there's so many Percys in that mix, they could definitely cause a few headaches. Look at that tac missile barrage. Where is that going? Going after that stationary crab of Yogg, perhaps? No, flying straight overhead, going after the fat boy and being absorbed onto the shield. Combination of the shield, the base shield, and the fat boy's shield. Managed to block out even that many numbers of attack missiles. Heavy artillery installation under construction, but it's taken a bit of a battering from both the Duke fire and presumably the Novax satellite as well. Still being labelled a defense satellite. They really should change that. There's nothing defensive about it. It's purely should be assault satellite or something else equally nasty. Look how exposed. Oh, as the Duke fire rains in on the back of Mutant's base. There goes the nuke launcher and a whole buttload of his power gens. He's now feeding off his teammates for power reserves after that. And it's probably going to go lower still as more shells rain in. New experimental bomber on the way, this time for Team 1. Belonging to Alexander. Another Duke on the way for Immortus, who seems to have been the one designated to pick up the empty space and resources belonging to Illidan. Or that belongs to Illidan, I should say. Bosh. One ruined base right there. 52 minutes gone. And Team 1 still massively out-earning Team 2. I mean, look at that. It's over 200 mass differential. But nothing being done with that advantage for the time being. Wow, Fat Boy nearly destroyed, down to 500 HP with that last tack volley. Where is that battery? Can I see it? There it is. Mutant G-Pulls battery. Now there's double Novax hitting those shields. Lord Falar busy assisting an SMD down there. That's not the problem. You guys have got to get something in there to take out the Dukes and the satellites. And do it sharpish, or you guys are going to be whittled away. Just seems like at the moment they don't have an answer for it. And down here, the army that looked like it was posturing for an attack after Illidan got knocked out is now under massive bombardment. Just the sheer artillery rain chasing them away behind that cliff. Crab backtracking, trying to keep its photon cannons in play, taking a lot of fire on the front. Fat Boys need to bring themselves round here. Make it rain. That is the end of that little army for Falar, and that group of Percys belonging to Lictor is going to double back up the left-hand side with the demise of that army. Meanwhile, over in the east, again, more pressure from Shved. More aggression. It's been nothing but aggression from him all game. And this could be problems for Team 2. Yogg moving his own crab into position. We've got a Monkey Lord under construction down here. But if all of those bricks move in, but whoa, okay, picked off. So suddenly there's no more problem. And that could well be it. Taken out by a combination of the Dukes and the satellites. It looked like the Duke got the final kill. If Notify was right, it's not always, but looked like Immortus got the final hit on that comm, and that kills off that army, which was gonna be an enormous problem. If that was able to be brought to bear, that would have knocked out potentially most of this. They could have dealt with the crab and what have you, but the bricks would have got in amongst here and caused absolute carnage. God, but look at that, getting overconfident. Two of those Fat Boys thrown away to that purple army on the ground. And does that spell the end for Team 1? I'm not sure they've got anything left in the tank. Support commanders going pop, and look at the eco now. It tells you just how much Fed was pulling in. They're down to 611, back up to 724, but that might be reclaimed. Alexander retreating in the face of Percival's. Taking a bit of a battering personally on the comm. Support commander back there, hurriedly throwing what defenses up he can. He gets taken out. Alexander moving back in, going to try and overcharge some of these Percys. The front of Falar's base just getting wrecked by two fatties coming in the front door. Lord Falar back here going toe-to-toe with the Percival's. Got some extra shield coverage, though that shield's now being strained from the satellite fire. That Percy needs to take out that shield gen. There it goes. Falar backing up towards mutants, shielding back here. Lots of overlapping shielding. Keeping Falar alive as he tries to take out these Percivals one by one. He's got gun, he's got nano, he's got T3. Alexander's locked onto by the satellite though, and it does so much damage now, especially with two of them. Victor picks up the kill there. Must have been the last hit from the Percy. Or Notify spazzing out once again. Falar holding on for the time being, but Jog has turned up with his crab. And all the time, of course, we've got Duke power raining in. Still, all of this infrastructure out front belonging to Falar, who really did expand nicely out of his base early on and held that point in the middle of the map for so long. Falar doing the Canis River can trying to avoid incoming fire, but that is all she wrote down. He goes, leaving Mutant all by his lonesome somewhere, wherever he is, presumably. I thought he was up in there for a minute, but presumably in the river is what I should have said. So much wreckage. Very exciting stuff. Just on the crux of an hour, Mutant emerges from the water to take on the crab and his single Percy buddy. Locked onto by the crab and the satellite. Who's going to get the final hit? And it's Yogg. And there we have it. Almost exactly 1 hour. Just crazy. Yeah, losing Jackhammer first of all. Looked like that was it. Or going to be it for an early one. But of course you knew it's an epic. Of course you knew it wasn't going to be. And for most of that, they actually had more than 50% map control, Team 1. So credit where credit is due, but Team 2, look at that mass total, more than 500,000 extra mass accrued. over their opponents. Well done to Team 2. Valiantly played and actually only losing one player to really the silliest of things. It's always good advice to move your comm when you hear a nuke go off, unless you're surrounded by really solid nuke defense. And if he had done, he probably could have saved him, but alas, it was just too late, so he bowed out. But otherwise, a highly entertaining game. Don't forget, look at that, it actually did stop exactly on an hour. How awesome. I don't know, I'm pretty sad. I take pleasure in things like that. As I said, guys, don't forget, let me know, hit that subscribe and that little bell thing, and if you haven't already, and if you have already and you're still not getting notifications, let me know in the comments and tell me, because I really do need to sort that out and work out what is going on exactly. But anyway, Patreon's still live, guys. If you feel like supporting, all donations very gratefully received. Thank you so much to everybody who's donated so far. And you know what? It's really hard to find a time to do it, but now I'm out of contract. I'm able to do other things like stream and what have you. So I might be finding some time here and there to do some kind of extra exercise, some kind of extra casting, be it streaming or whatever, which might be quite interesting. We shall see. Let me know what you think of that in the comments. I have thought of trying to dig out some pro who could actually teach me to play properly, because that might be quite an entertaining set of streamcasts to watch. I say entertaining. The first one will be entertaining, and then you'll be bored stiff. But but anyway, guys, as I said, hope you enjoyed, and until next time, stay well, and in these precarious times, definitely stay safe and stay at home. All right, cheers, buds. Catch you later. This is Guile signing out.